Hi, I'm Phil Hall and welcome to this digital photo video tutorial. I'm going to be showing you 3 great quick fixes that you can use on your landscape images. You'll learn how to add super saturation, level horizons easily, and apply a warm-up filter to your photos. So let's kick off with super saturation. So I've got my landscape shot here and it's looking pretty good, but the colours for me are just a little bit dull and I just want to boost them up with saturation. So what I normally do is get the old hue saturation slider out and just crank up the saturation sort of quite a bit. But if I do that and I hit OK, you can see that the reader's not looking too bad. Zoom in, especially on the sky, the colours are getting quite blocky and sort of pixelated and it's really starting to deteriorate. So I don't want that. Yeah, so just around there. You probably can't see it on your screen. So that's no good for me. So if I just come back to how the image was before, I zoom out, I'm going to show you a great technique that allows you to add saturation, but at the same time maintain detail and don't get any of those blocky colours that we hate. So first thing I'm going to do is duplicate this layer. So bring up your layers palette by hitting F7 on your keyboard and then go to layer, duplicate layer. So in the pop-up box I'm just going to quickly hit OK, not going to rename it. So we've got our background copy layer there. What I'm going to do is going to blur this layer. I'm only going to blur it slightly, but it will all make sense in a moment. So we go to filter, go to blur, Gaussian blur, and we've got our pop-up box up here. So as I said, I'm only going to blur the background copy layer slightly, so a radius of around 2.6, 2.5 will be fine for this. So once you've done that, hit OK, and we've got our blurred background copy layer. Right, with that done, we can start applying our saturation. So I'm going to click on the Create New Filler Adjustment Layer icon on the Layers palette, and from that selection I'm going to choose Hue Saturation. So this time, as before, I'm going to be able to crank up the slider quite a fair way. It's around about there. So I can see, just pull that out of the way. The reeds the sky are really being boosted up by the saturation slider, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to hit OK. That's looking good from here, but what I'm going to do now is just click on the background copy layer and I'm going to change the blending mode. This time from normal, I'm going to select colour. So doing it this way has allowed us to maintain detail as only the colour information is used. Photoshop's only using the colour information. It's not worried about the detail. That's sort of thanks to the blurring we've done. So if I now zoom in on the image, hopefully you'll be able to see it, but we've got some nice smooth graduation. We haven't got any of that sort of blocky pixelated colour that we had before, and we've still got all of that detail we want. So that's worked out nicely for us. So that's a great way of adding super saturation to an image without it deteriorating. So that's done. I think we can now move on to leveling her horizon with the transform tool. So I'm just going to minimize this, bring up our next image, and we can get started. So we've got this nice seascape image here. It's nice and moody, but the only trouble is, if you look at it closely, the horizon is going down at the left, which is no good for us. We want to fix that quickly. So I'm going to show you how to do that with the transform tool in a moment. But if you're using Photoshop, I'm going to show you another quick technique too. So where you see the eyedropper on your toolbox, click on it and select the ruler tool. So this is quite a neat little trick. So where the horizon is, I'm just going to click on it and then drag it outwards along the horizon. So point to point there, running along the horizon. I'll go to image, down to rotate canvas, go to arbitrary, and it's already keyed in the angle that the ruler's at. So rather than, I don't know if you've done that before, you've tried to tap it in just to get it precisely right. It sort of is never spot on for me first time. It can take a couple of times playing around with it, but this has automatically worked it out for us. So I'm going to hit OK, and that's leveled our horizon. The only trouble is though, we're going to have to crop the image because as you can see, we've got these nasty white bits here where we've had to rotate the image, so we'd have to crop in and we'll have to lose bits of our image. So though it's quite a handy quick way of doing it, we are losing bits of the image. So what I'm going to do, if I just go back to how it was before we rotated it, I want to show you a great way that we can sort the horizon out using the transform tool, but without losing any of our image, having to crop it off. So first thing I'm going to do is bring up some rulers. So you can easily do that. Just hit Control R on your keyboard if you're using Photoshop, or Shift Control R if you're using Elements. So we've got our rulers in our image now. And all I'm going to do is just click on the ruler and then drag down. You see we get this horizontal line come down. This is what's known as a guide, and if I just drop it into place there, we can see how far off we are with our horizon. Don't panic though if you haven't got it exactly where you want it to be. If I just click on the move tool, and then if you just run the cursor over the guide, you'll see the icon change, and then you can move it just by clicking down and moving it back into position. So round about there, and we can get started leveling our horizon. So what I'm going to do is hit Control A to select the entire image. You should have some marching ants running around your shot, and I'm just going to hit Control T now to transform. Right, so with that done, all I'm going to do now is still hold down Control, move my cursor to the top left hand corner and just pull it upwards. So just pulling the image up slightly, and as you can see, if I get that to the certain point, you can see it falls in line with the guide. The horizon is level now. So I'm just going to release Control and hit Return. So looking at the guide, we've got our straight horizon. All I need to do now is just get rid of the marching ants, Control D on the keyboard, and if you want to get rid of your guide with the move tool, just get a shot of it. And as you can see, we've got a straight horizon. We haven't had to crop the image at all. So that's a great way of leveling your horizons. Just use the transform tool and just pull it up, and you'll get a nice straight horizon. So that's done. Let's move on to the final technique, which is warming up an image. So I'm just going to minimize this and bring up our final image. So we've got this nice shot of the peaks, but I just want to warm up the image slightly because it's looking a little bit cool, and I can easily and quickly do that. All I have to do is go down to Create New Filler Adjustment Layer, click on it, and select Photo Filters from the choices we have. So I get a nice pop-up box appear here, and I've got filters selected. Now, if you've used sort of traditional photographic filters before, you may be familiar with warm-up filters. They just add a nice warm tint to your image. But Photoshop's got quite a few others, but I'm just going to concentrate on warming up the image for now, and I'm going to stick with 85 as well. If you want, you can have a play around yourself though by selecting colour, and you can just go through the colour picker, choosing the colour of the filter you want. But I'm going to go back to my warming filter 85 specifically, and what I'm going to do, it's 25%. The density has a bit of an impact, but I want to crank it up a bit more, so I'm just going to increase it around about 45. So if I click off preview, it's warmed the image up nicely, especially in the middle distance there and the foreground. It's had an effect on the sky as well. I didn't really want that to happen. It's a global change, but I'll show you how to rectify that in a moment. But for now, I'm happy with what's happened, and I'm going to hit OK. So we've applied our photo filter, and it's come in as an adjustment layer. But as I said before, it's had an effect on the sky. Now, I quite like sort of some warmth in it, but it's probably a bit too much for the sky. So what I'm going to do is make sure I've got black selected as my foreground colour. I'm going to select the brush tool, and I want a brush size around 700. If you want to do that quickly, just left square brackets key to reduce your brush size, or right square brackets key to increase it in size. So 700 is about right, and I'm going to go for an opacity of around about 36. All I'm going to do is making sure I've got that layer mask thumbnail selected, is just brush into the sky, and this will feather the effect of our photo warm-up filter on the sky. As you can see, if I just keep brushing in, that has an effect on our thumbnail there. Basically, we're just letting the image below the photo filter come through stronger, and it's just in the sky as well. We're not affecting any of the foreground or middle distance. So that's looking about right. If I click back to just before I started using the brush tool. You can see how it was before, how it is now. We've still got that nice blue there, but we've warmed up the foreground and the rest of the landscape as well. So I'm happy with that. So there you go, 3 great easy techniques to try yourself. They're dead quick to do, but can make a massive difference to your images. Hope you've enjoyed it. Cheers.